Do you love breakdowns? Do you need stats? Do you crave insight? Download the AllStar app. UFC, Bellator, PFL 1 Championship, and more. Ad-free, fully customizable. Download the best app in the business. Link in descriptions. UFC 280, one of the biggest fights in lightweight history for the vacant lightweight title. Do you see either fighter being an underdog, Islam or Oliveira?
That's a hard one to judge, and I sure am no bookie. Um, you know, but Jeremy's fight, I think at one point he was a 700 underdog. So you can't really can't put too much in that, right? I don't see either of those guys in their camps. We all know what they're both known for. It's just a kind of a thing. Is like, can Oliveira nullify the wrestling, or capitalize on some jiu-jitsu and stuff in those positions? And use his striking, or vice versa. It's one of those fights. It's hard to say, and I feel like whoever is going to be able to implement that game plan or what they're known for is going to have the better fight.
Oliveira, the last couple of fights, he seemed to hit his stride in his striking. What differences do you see in his striking that maybe a person like me, like a novice, doesn't see?
Um, it's hard to say because he's always had a heavy hand. Like if he lands it good, guys react to it. I think his ability to maybe stay composed and pick his shots. I think he's been real clean with what he's been finding. And if he could utilize some movement after those strikes and not hang out in the pocket so much, I think he's going to be hard to get a hold of. Use his angles after he punches and things like that. So.
It seems like people think like if it becomes like a stand-up battle, that Oliveira has, the advantages. And, I understand why people think that, but Islam's striking is improving every fight as well. Do you think a lot of people are underestimating the power that Islam has, and we could see something like that, him clipping Oliveira, because Oliveira likes to take risks?
Yeah, he does. And that's why I said, I feel like he needs to get out of the pocket and either find some angles or close a gap if he feels like he wants to take it to that point in the fight. But yeah, I mean, at that weight class, I feel like everybody could be dangerous on the feet if they land. And with him improving, like you said, in the last fights, I feel like he's going to go in there and try to showcase that. I think he's going to want to make a point a little bit about the striking. We'll see. We'll see.
How much do you think, like the moment, the pressure, like he's supposed to be the next Habib, he's fighting in Abu Dhabi in front of a home crowd, everybody's pumping him up, from his team. Do you think that will play a factor in that fight?
I don't think it will for him. I think it's a factor, and I don't know him well enough to really answer that question. But I feel like with his background and where he comes from, I feel like he should be able to deal with the pressures that he sees in the fighting. But you never know. It's a weird beast, and you don't really know until the pressure's on. And then you see how people respond to that. So. Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. We'll get an idea. I think, fight week, get those guys around each other, kind of see how the energies are, and maybe have a better idea there of what we think is going to happen in that. Once we get closer to that fight.
What do you think is going to happen in that fight? Like, I'm not saying who's going to win, but how do you see the fight kind of playing out?
I see them both, coming out striking for a little bit until Oliveira gets the better of it. And then I feel, that's when the wrestling is going to kick in. And I don't really see Oliveira being able to stop it if the wrestling is as good as it's looked. And as, people like Habib have said it is. So it's going to be a tough one.